And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Cover Me. Now, what attracted to me this game initially was the fact that the box cover looks like the cover of a magazine. I thought that was pretty cool. The theme is not one that's done very often. I have to say, I don't really know a lot about fashion, and you say, obviously, zinger, but yeah. I don't know much about fashion, and I really don't have much interest in it, but I'm always interested in themes that do something different, and that's what this game is going to do. You are a magazine trying to find the person who's best for your cover. And how do you find a person who's best for your cover? Well, the person who, checks off what all the current trends are. People like blonde hair, then you want a blonde on your cover. People like green dresses, then you want a green dress on your cover, whatever it is. So that's what the game is based about, playing the right combination of the right card at the right time. Here's some more details. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at these cards, because the whole game is based around the different models that are in this game that you're trying to put on the cover of your magazine. Each model has a name, which doesn't really matter. What's more important is they each have a color of the hair, so it's going to be black, red, or blonde. They're going to have a length, so you can see this one here is short, this one here is long, and then there is a medium one here. Notice by this symbol that's right there. There's a background, so you can see there's a blue stripe background, a diamond background, and a checkered background. And then there are dress colors. Blue, red, and yellow is what starts in the game, but the game will then quickly include green dresses. In the next round, it will include black, and then it will include white dresses. These boards don't really mean anything. They're just here for decoration. So now that you've seen them, we're going to move them out of there so you can see a little bit more. You're going to keep track of different stats each round. Here you keep track of how popular the 3 colors of hair are on this track. Here you keep track of the lengths of hair. And then on the walkway here, you might have the different colors of dress. So I might have yellow and green and red and blue, or I might have the backgrounds. And I know that because on this board here, which keeps track of the turns, there's going to be 3 years. Each year is made of 4 seasons. In 2 of the seasons, winter and fall, the background matters. In spring and summer, the color of the dress matters. So I mention that because I'm going to move these out of the way. And each player is going to have their own magazine. You'll have one in front of you so everyone knows what it is. And the rest are placed out like this. Now, each round of the game, players are going to have a handful of cards. And you're going to start with some cards that are drawn, and then you can also draw from these piles. Each pile is a different color hair. You can always draw off the top, which in the first round of the game, this draw pile is all green. If you ever draw a card so that there's no more of that color, you will turn over cards like this and put them on the proper hair color pile until you find one that's of the missing color, so that there's always all 3 colors available for people to get. So you're going to draw and have a handful of cards. Everyone's going to basically play a card face down. We turn these cards face up, and each player is going to put the cards that they chose face up next to their magazine. You will then move all the different tracks based on what you put. So this one's going to move the blonde 4 spaces and the red 1 space. It's going to move long hair 2 spaces. It's going to move medium hair 2 spaces, and it's going to move the short hair 1 space. It's going to move the blue stripy background 4 spaces and the checkered background 1 space. And we'll pretend this is winter, so we won't really care about the color of the dress. Everyone is going to do that again, and the same thing is going to happen. And then everyone is going to do it again, and the same thing happens. Now, after this happens, there's going to be a dominant color, a dominant trait of all 3. You're going to look at your 3 people. So let's say, for example, and by the way, there's a couple cards that are going to seed the board, so some of the traits will already have been moved a little bit. But let's say long, blonde, and stripy blue background are the 3 things. So I look at mine. I have someone who meets all those. She has long blonde hair with a stripy background. She's going to be the cover. I'm going to put her underneath my magazine card, and she's going to score me points at the end of the game. The other 2 go back in my hand. This person does not have someone who meets all 3 traits. They have someone who has long hair, or no, they have stripy background, and here they have blonde hair. They only have people who meet one trait. So they're going to pick one of those people with one trait, and that's going to influence the traits from next round, but it doesn't score many points. In fact, this person has long blonde hair, but not the blue stripy background. And this one, long blonde hair with the blue stripy background. So this is another one that would score for their person. And green is actually worth more points than blue, yellow, and red. So after everyone is done doing this, you're going to, there is one way you can score all three of your people very, very difficult, and that's if none of them match anything. So this person here, for example, has has black short hair with the diamond background, so she matches nothing. This person has red medium hair with diamond background, so she matches nothing. But this person has blonde hair, so she matches something. However, if you manage to get them so they all don't match, like for example, black medium hair, no, that's blue stripy background, never mind. And red, oh, that's blue stripy background. Here's black medium hair with a diamond background. So if I had all three of these cards, none of them match, I'd be able to score all of them. It's a very difficult thing to do. And then you discard the card. Well, you keep the cards, some of the cards back in your hand, and then you start another round. After you start the next round, though, there will now be cards with black dresses in that will be in the mix. So another colors in the mix. And then in the final round, white. Whites are worth 5s, 4s, greens are 3s, the other ones are 2s. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points is the winner. You're just going to do that many times. So the magazine covers are fine. They have that kind of like that weird chic look to them, but they're basically just to tell you who's on what team. Where the game's going to be interesting and what people are going to care about are the models themselves. Now, I don't really know why the background matters. They're really boring backgrounds, these diamonds and things. Other than that, though, they did a really good job at getting a diverse cast, and I really got to give them credit that they didn't go out of their way. None of these cards, in my opinion, or anyone I played it with, we feel like they were objectifying these people. Most of these cards, from what I understand, were based on real life models that were sent in, that people were able to, hey, this is, they just drew pictures. They didn't care. These aren't, anorexic, very skinny, the most beautiful people in the world type pictures. They do look they're kind of weird in some ways because they're photoshopped. Well, they're not photoshopped, but they look like photoshopped real people. They're actually drawn images of people, so they kind of look half real, half drawn. But other than that, I'll give them credit. It's also very easy to look at the symbols and see them on the side, and you have to do that because the hair length, sometimes that's medium hair length, that's long. If you ask me, I guess I'm not very smart with the hairs, I would have been like, those are both long hair, but there's that. The rest of the components, is this catwalk here necessary? Not at all. But it is cool, adds to the theme. And like they have these reviewing stands, these actually get in the way. You need to have like a grid of cards on the table. So this takes up more table space than it probably needs to. But it is nice, and it does add to the theming of the game. The thing about Cover Me, like I said, is I think the theme works pretty well. They did a good, I really want to give them props for this. This is something that could have gone terribly awry, right? But they did a good job. This game is tasteful, I guess is the best word for it. But there's all these different, all these different people. They look really cool. The theming works, and they're not really saying anything like, the things you care about, like hair color or length of hair, those are the things I'm glad that they're judging people on rather than other physical characteristics. And that's great. The background thing is kind of weird, but other than that, it works pretty well. Here's the deal. Everyone plays a card. So everyone plays a card. And someone adjusts all the tracks. Everyone picks another card. Adjusts all the tracks. Everyone plays another card. Adjusts all the tracks. That's one season. There's 4 seasons, 3 years. You go through that 12 times. In fact, the rules even have a 4th year. It gets really samey, really fast. Not only that, while it's an interesting concept, it's really hard to figure out what's going on. You're watching the tracks move. Oh, wow, there's a lot of blondes out there. Well, I definitely want to play a blonde. Okay, right. By playing a blonde, not only are you're going to push that track up, but you got to try to figure out the right thing. But what you could do is you could play some random cards at the beginning, hoping that maybe they match, and then watching where the trends go and play the card you really think will matter as your 3rd card. Fine. That's interesting, but sometimes you just get buzzed. Sometimes everyone else plays a different thing. the more players you play with, the less control you're going to have over this. It's even worse if you try to get the zeros, right? The 3 zeros. That's a great thing. It's like shooting the moon. But it's nearly impossible to do. Because if you play the card, you're pushing that track up some. And by pushing that track up some, you are probably going to score one of the traits with that. So it's possible to pull off. It's more possible in the spring and summer when the color of the dress matters, because there's 4 colors and then eventually 6 different colors of dresses, so it's easier not to have them fail. But if you play, for example, a redhead, someone with dark hair, and a blonde, you can't shoot the moon. It's just not possible. So you got to be really careful when you're playing these things and really try to find something. I mean, shooting the moon, I tried it several times. I came close, but I just haven't happened. The idea that it's there is interesting to me. But I don't know. I can't give this game a pass based on the fact that it's a unique theme, which I want to, though. But the fact is that you just do it over and over and over and over again. And I feel it's turn a card over, move tracks, turn a card over, move tracks. The decision making isn't that fantastic. And because of that, I'm sorry, I can't really recommend this one. I want to, but there's a germ of a good idea here, but it's just too long for what it is. Dice Tower Judgment, too repetitive.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
Yeah?